What is up, you guys? Josh here, back at it today with a brand new, I guess you could say, My Thoughts series. So in this video, we're going to be talking to you guys about why I don't actually pre-order video games anymore. So in the past, especially in the 90s, one of the latest and greatest in terms of video games, such as the N64, the PS2, the original Xbox, or even the Xbox 360, or the PS3, you kind of had to go and pre-order the games. Otherwise, you're going to have a harder time getting your hands on those games, unlike somebody else who would actually, just wait for the game to come out and actually buy it. Nowadays, you don't really need to do that just because of the fact that they are so widely common, especially in retail stores, that you can basically wait on this and see if this game is actually worth purchasing. And that's basically what I do on my YouTube channels. If I really like a game and I know that the game's going to be good, then I actually go out of my way to pre-order the game either digitally or physically. I prefer to have a physical copy just because of the fact that while having a digital library of video games is actually good, having that physical copy preserves it for generations to come. And if you have that physical copy, even if the servers go down, eventually, which most video game servers, especially the companies that make them, such as Sony and Microsoft, they eventually take down their servers when a new video game console comes down the line and basically have that video game title forever, whether that online service is available or not. Especially if you have a video game collection like I do that revolves around sort of the story-driven narrative titles such as God of War, Halo, Gears of War, Killzone, things of that nature. If you preserve those types of content over time, you're gonna have access to that for a very, very long time, as long as you maintain your consoles, you don't let them get too dirty or dusty, you don't spill anything on them, you basically maintain those systems as they are. You pretty much have those video games as a whole for generations. And that's one of the things that I like to do on this channel, is basically preserve video game content and basically talk to you guys about the content that I actually like to consume. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of started this channel. So one of the things I really do like, as well as being really invested in movies, is video games. And I think that movies and video games can go hand in hand. And while I really did like ordering video games in the past, such as, Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, the games have over the time become repetitive. They've released games in buggy and broken messes. They tell the consumer beforehand that they're going to release this title and there's going to be some glitches and issues, which over time they'll patch and release updates and stuff like that on various different systems, whether that's the Nintendo console, the Xbox, or Sony's platform. They release updates on these video games that are multi-platform and eventually fix sort of the issues that were going on with it before. And one of the things I really don't like about the modern state of video games is in the past they kind of had to release a title that was complete, that had the finished product on there, whether that's the single player campaign or even the multiplayer, which I don't really play the multiplayer components as much as I used to, mostly because of the fact that with multiplayer games you kind of have the microtransactions and you have the DLC packs you have to buy, and it becomes a money grubbing scheme for video game companies to kind of take more money from you over time. In the past you didn't really have that. You had the video game itself, you had sort of the single player and the multiplayer component, and then later on down the line, if they wanted to add more maps or if they wanted to add more character skins and content and stuff like that in the game, they could certainly choose to do so. And nowadays with pre-orders, you don't know if a game's going to be worth your time or money. You don't know if the story is going to be good per se. You don't know if the game itself is going to have good gameplay mechanics, especially with something released recently like Golem. And so it's kind of hard to gauge whether or not you're supposed to buy a game before it release. If you want to drop money down on it, you don't know if your money is going to be well spent. And that's one of the reasons why typically I wait for reviews to come out, especially with bigger companies and first, and then I kind of go down the line with YouTubers that I trust. And if they're all saying the same thing, if they're all saying that this game is not worth purchasing, this game is not worth your time and money buying, then I'm not going to go out of my way to kind of purchase or pre-order that game beforehand. But if it's a video game that I know is going to be released and they have a really perfect track record releasing titles that are in a completed state, that aren't buggy, that don't have glitches, that don't have gameplay mechanics that are broken at launch, then I'm going to purchase those. And that's one of the reasons why I think that you shouldn't be purchasing video game nowadays as pre-orders, just because of the fact that it's good to wait. It's good to kind of see if these games are going to be worth your hard-earned money, because video games nowadays, while they used to be $60 in the past, are now $70. So you're basically gambling on whether or not you're going to like this game, whether or not this game is going to come out in a broken, buggy mess, and whether or not the companies view you as a player, as someone that's going to be buying their games worth their time investing in. Because the fact that they release a broken, buggy mess, they're basically telling you that they want you to be the QA quality testers, that they didn't actually take the time, hours to test these games before launch, and they're kind of releasing a broken game so that way you will become their guinea pigs, I guess you could say, for these titles. And that's one of the reasons why, like I said before, while I like playing video games, while I like enjoying and consuming content such as video games, I don't really go out of my way to go to places like Best Buy, Target, or GameStop unless I really know that these games are worth my time and money to kind of order them now. Not just because of the fact that so many of these games and titles have released lately at full price $70 and have not been worth my time or money. So those are my thoughts and opinions on why I don't think that you should be going out of your way to pre-order video games. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you still pre-order video games? Do you still buy titles that you know coming out, or are you like myself that kind of just wait for reviews before you actually purchase and drop $70 down on a title? Know that there's some products right now that are released, whether they're multi-platform games, that are released at $60, but the vast majority of them are $70. And I think asking $70, especially for a broken game, is just asking way too much. And that's one of the reasons why I really don't like how most of these video game companies, when Sony kind of made the jump to $70 price games, even though I like the games on their platform, kind of followed suit, because it's like, well, you kind of have to earn my $70. You don't just get it because you think that you've put in a lot of effort, and then you release a game that's got glitches and bugs, and it's just not really that great of a product as a whole. So those are my own thoughts and opinions. I'm not trying to kind of name any sort of company that's kind of done that in the past, or I'm not trying to slander some, video game studios and stuff like that. I'm just trying to throw my thoughts into the ether and kind of give you guys my thoughts and opinions on sort of the overall topic of pre-ordering video games as it currently stands in the modern era. Like I said before, I love playing video games. Video games is pretty much my secondary hobby, as well as watching movies. I do have a video game channel on sort of a secondary channel where I upload straight up gameplay and various different titles. So if you want to see me play video games, whether that's Uncharted, Halo, Gears of War, God of War is another game title that I really love, and Killzone and stuff like that. So if you want to find my channel, definitely go to that and watch me play video games. So that's where I'll pretty much be when I'm not posting content to here. I really do like posting content to both channels, but for here it's mostly just movie and video game related topics, as well as movie and video game reviews. That's kind of where I'm kind of moving my stuff towards to while I'm not doing sort of my cosplay stuff right now. So definitely check out those channels. And as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe if you like this type of content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.